Here it is. It has finally arrived all the way from China. This thing took a week to get here. So let's open it up and let's hope that our cards actually fit inside this case. Alrighty. This is extremely difficult to do when you're on one leg. So I'm going to do the best that I can. And I'm going to put those mining rigs over there in this actual case here. So let's see what happens. Alrighty, finally got the cardboard off, and this is what it looks like. So we've got the three big fans on the front, which doesn't look like it comes with any fans, but lucky we've got a shitload of spare fans, so maybe we're gonna have to screw these on here. We've got the dedicated power switch at the front, which I like, and it looks like it's more of a reset switch. It doesn't really lock into place there. That's okay. Well, let's have a look. We've got some nice vents on the side. Not sure if we can put fans here, but probably don't need to. Let's see what's at the back here. This looks like it's been bent a little bit. Probably dropped it. Oh yeah, that's a bit shit. A bit bent. I think this is more like it's a very cheap design, but these were sort of built for mining cases. They're not really for building high-end servers, so I guess they've just made them very cheaply, and for 250 Australian dollars you would expect that. I mean, before, server cases would run you upwards of, you know, like $600-700, so they've done it pretty cheap, but that doesn't matter. It all depends on if we can fit our cards in here and if they're not going to overheat. It looks like we get some screws here to put the motherboard on. Oh yeah, this is for our reset switch at the front. So where are the screws on this thing? Oh yeah, screws are on the side here. So I'm going to go ahead and unscrew this thing and take a look inside, and then I'm going to grab some of the Vega cards and see if they fit, because ideally we want to get 8 cards in here, and I specifically got this one because it supports dual power supplies. As you see, you got the one here and you've got one over here. A lot of the other ones on there that support 6 cards only had support for 1 power supply, which is not going to work in our case because we want to fit all 8 cards in here. Alrighty, so I've just gotten the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws off. So there was 2 on the sides, 2 on each side, and then 2 at the top here. So now this top bit just slides off just like that. So let's have a look inside. Alrighty. So what have we got here? Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't know what that's for. So I've just taken the cable ties off, and I've got no idea why they put the bars. I've got all these weird bars, which I don't even know if I'm going to use. I'm assuming this one is for resting the other side of the graphics card. I don't know if this goes like here and then you rest. I don't know how this is going to screw in, but I'll have a play around. And then this is the bar that the GPUs go on. So on one side you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sets of holes on that side, but if you flip it around you've got 8 sets of holes, which is what we're gonna be using. So I'm assuming this must go like this. So it turns out that I've only got 6 of these fans left, and unfortunately if we're gonna get 10 of these cases, then I'm gonna have to put like 1 fan per case, because we're gonna get 10 of these. And when we bought all of these 6 and 8 card rigs, we got 4 of these fans per case that we got, but we threw them all in the bin because we never thought that we would actually need them. Can you believe that? we threw them all in the bin, about 30 fans, and now we actually need them all, and I don't have enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one fan per case just at the front, taking air in, and then we'll see what happens with the temperatures, and I'll get some more fans if I need to. So here's what we have so far. I've mounted this bracket here, which is going to hold the 8 cards, and then I've used this one here. I've mounted just on the bottom here, and that's going to just hold the weight of the end of the graphics cards. So at the moment, this is how they're going to sit. So that'll just go like that, and that'll slot in. This will be the last one there. So see how it just sort of sits on the edge there, and I think that's pretty good height there. So there's one card. Now let me try and get all 8 cards in here, and before I do that, I think I'm going to put the plug all the power cables in, because I can just see this is going to be a nightmare to plug in if I put all the cards in first. So I better put all the power cables in now. So yeah, that's the advantage of having the open air case. It's very easy to get to things, but we'll see what it's like when we put all the cards in here. So here they are. I've got all 8 cards in the case now, and it was quite a tight fit to get all the cables coming underneath the bottom of the card. So I hope none of these come loose, because it's going to be an absolute nightmare to try and re-plug these things in, because I've got to take each card out one by one just to get inside. But it looks like they fit in quite nicely. These are Vega 64s. I doubt that 1080 Ti's would actually fit in this frame, because they're just too bulky and the fan sticks out. I mean, it might fit, but they'd be touching each other. So I've still got that one fan at the front, so I'm going to go ahead and put the motherboard in and the power supplies, and then I'm going to fire this thing up and see what kind of temperatures we can get. So here's how it currently is. So I've got the motherboard in on 2 screws only, because it just doesn't fit. It's hitting this grill here, so I've had to bend it and basically destroy the case. I don't know if you can see this in the camera. You can see this bend coming out here. I've had to do that just to fit the board in, and you can see behind there the other audio jack is not fitting. And I don't know if you can see the other audio port here, which is being completely blocked. This is why it's it is not correct. So, well, this is fantastic. When I plug in the risers from the graphics card, how am I going to put the power supply in here? How am I going to do that? This is like, I can't crush this anymore. The power supply is going to sit right here. Even if I had the lower screws in this, it's not going to fit. So how the fuck am I going to do this? The other power supply goes there. That'll be fine, but you know, all of these risers are going to be hit unless I use a different cable. Wow, that's cutting it close. Like, this is how, oh my god, this is how it's going to have to sit. I don't know how that's going to work, but we may just need to put the power supply on and actually squash these riser cables, which is very annoying. And in this particular one, I mean, if we did have the lower screws in here, I think it would just fit. It would just be perfect there. So I've decided to try putting the board in without the mounting pins, because the case actually came with some pins that are, you can't actually unscrew them, but it's what these mounting pins screw into, but they're actually raised up about 1/2 centimeter off the board anyway. So I've just tried it like that, and this is how it's sitting. So it sits okay in there, it kind of fits, but I've just realized it looks like they've either bent the case or they must have dropped it or something, because if you see this actual, see how there's a gap and it just sort of goes nice and straight along the edge, and then as you come up it starts curving inwards. So this entire thing has been pushed in, which means that none of the screw holes actually line up at the top. So this one doesn't line up properly either, so I've only got one screw in there. I can actually only put one screw in this entire thing. So these ones are not going to fit, the middle ones aren't going to fit, but this is just the way I'm going to have to do it. So I hope the next one that I get hasn't been dropped off the truck to be bent like that, because it's not going to fit in. So here it is, turned on. We've got all 8 cards in there finally working. And so far the temperatures aren't that hot. I mean, the only shit thing about this case is that this bar here should be here, because all of the hot air is going that way at the end of each Vega card. So in the data center, the cold air is going to come through the front side. So usually it would come through the front and then exhaust out the back. But this is the only way that this bar goes in, because there's no screw holes on this side for this particular bar. So I'm either going to have to screw some holes in this side so that I can put that bar over there and then flip the cards around, so that way the hot air is just going to be pushing that way, but then again it's going to be pushing all that hot air over into the CPU, which it may not matter too much. I don't think the CPU is really going to overheat, but it's just annoying, and I think I might just move this fan over here and add a second one here and turn it around so it's bringing the hot air out. But yeah, the temperatures on these are hovering around 60 degrees, and I noticed that if the temperature goes a little bit over that the hash rate starts to drop on them. And keep in mind, I haven't even got the lid on this at the moment, so what I might do is put the lid on and see what the temperatures get up to with the lid on. Another thing, this case is an absolute pain in the ass to modify anything, because I already had trouble where 2 of the cards weren't turning on, and you can see how little room there is down there. So if one of these riser cables comes undone, I kind of got to have to unscrew 3 of the cards so I can get in there and then unplug all of the cables, because it's an absolute mess in there. None of the cables really, you know, it's the best I could do in terms of cable management, which is very messy, but I mean it works. But yeah, it's nothing like these particular rigs, which are so nice and easy to modify. But you know, we're going to be saving money with these things in the data center anyway. So yeah, if we have a look at Awesome Miner here, you can see that we've got all the 8 cards there, and these are the temperatures on those cards. So around the 50 to 60 degree mark. This one card's probably seems to be 64. It's a bit hotter than the others, but you can see the fan speed on them. I've had to crank it up to close to 4,000 RPM because they were just overheating before. They were going close to 70 degrees, and the hash rate started to drop. It started to go around the 1400 hashes. So yeah, and at the moment, so this rig is mining Kryptonite version 7 on NiceHash. It's producing $11 a day gross. So after power costs, that's like $2 a day profit, which is really bad. And even after everything sort of went up 10 to 15% in the last couple of weeks, Kryptonite seemed to be lagging for some reason. None of the Kryptonite coins really went up in value, and I don't know if it's just the I haven't checked if the difficulty's gone up, or if there's just or if it's just completely related to the price, but that's what they're doing at the moment. So I'm going to go ahead and order more of these cases, and I'll probably make another video when I build the others, and definitely make another video when I take it into the data center. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe if you haven't. And until next time, stay crypto. Bitcoin billionaire.